Welcome back to the latest episode of Size 2 Ferns. My name's Sung Soo, and joining me now, straight out of LVO, is the hyperVIPER after his very impressive performance at the Las Vegas Invitational. How you doing?
I just got the name of your show. Size 2 Ferns. That's fabulous.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was real proud of myself when I came up with that.
hmm
Um, so the goal of this obviously is a little bit of a player profile. I'd love to hear more about you. You're one of those players that I see kind of in the rankings and on things, but I've never really heard you say much. So I'm excited to get into this. And I wanted to start with, I was just curious, how did you get into wargaming in general?
So, Crisis Protocol is my first war game. I've never played any tabletop games before this. I've never done any painting, which if you talk to anyone who hung out with me at LVO, they'll be like, "Yeah, that guy's whole roster's unpainted. He fucking sucks." Um, but yeah, no, I'm really new to all of this. I started playing like when the game launched. The way I found out about it is there was an episode of South Park where they had a board game club, and one of the games was Crisis Protocol, and they're all like, "Oh, Crisis Protocol, that game's not even out yet. That's so cool." So I looked it up. I watched some videos. I'm like, "Wow, this does seem really cool." So I got the core box and built it over a weekend. And me and a buddy of mine, we hung out at my apartment and we just played for like 3 straight days. And I'm like, "Oh, I might kind of like this game." And then I got into TTS because I didn't know any locals because I'm new into wargaming. And at that point in time, I wasn't living in Los Angeles. And then I just played a shitload, and then now I have like my locals, and like you were just talking about, I was at LVO. I placed like top 20 in season 6 of TTS. I got into the top cut, which was really fun. And yeah, no, I just like there's a reason why no one's heard of me, but I like this game a lot, so I play it a lot.
Is this was it actually in a South Park episode?
Yeah, yeah, it's about their board game club. It's like the girls try and join their board game club, and Cartman's like, "No." And then they make their own board game club, and it's way better, and they have Crisis Protocol.
That's
So
incredible. That
of course
that
they're gonna
might
be
be
better.
the best "How did you get started into wargaming" story I've ever heard. Because
I'm
I
glad,
watched a
yeah.
South Park episode, I did some googling, and you got hooked. So what do you really enjoy about wargaming? I'm really curious here because this is your first exposure. Like, what grabbed you in that 3 hour binge or 3 day binge with your roommate?
So I'm a huge it was my roommate at the time, but that doesn't matter, it's neither here nor there. I'm the huge Marvel Comics fan.
Ah,
Like, you can ask anybody I know, and they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, Fletcher reads a shitload of comics." Um, and, like, the Hulk is obviously like, he's one of my favorite characters, which, again, if you played with me at LVO, you probably figured out pretty quickly. And there's no feel like the only good, like, Hulk video game is, like, Hulk Ultimate Destruction from, like, 2004 or something, and that game's, like, it's fine, but it's certainly dated. There's no feeling in the world like throwing a damn building at somebody, man. It is invigorating.
so why is Hulk your favorite character? It is very clear that he is your favorite character,
Yeah.
so I can skip that question. But what about the giant green gamma machine really drew you to him?
There are so many, like, good stories and comics about him, and at the end of the day, like, he's this big creature, like, he's just a child more or less, right, in his most classic incarnation, who really does want to be left alone, but if you push him to, fight, he is really good at it, and he's the strongest one there is. And I identify with that a lot, not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm this super cool badass guy," but, like, I really don't enjoy fighting, but I am, 6'3", and you make me do it, I will do it. So having someone who represents that, like, that avatar is really cool. Also, he just, like, the design is so simple and so cool. He's just this basically a big green orc with purple pants.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So I am curious about your foray into I'm going to call it competitive Marvel Crisis Protocol playing. So obviously you've been playing the game as long as anyone else, right? You started playing basically at launch, and then you got involved in TTS. What made you? Was there a decision when you started playing like I want to do this at a high level, or did it just kind of happen naturally as you continue to challenge yourself?
I'd say probably the latter, like, as I continued to play more and more, I started to, like, without even because, when I first started playing this game, I think I played it the same way that everyone else does. It was like victory points are secondary. I'm just gonna move around and punch people in the face. So, of course, in that meta, Venom was the best character in the game, especially because we hadn't read about how you can only counterattack once per turn and stuff like that. But yeah, I just started playing more and more and like seeing what works and what doesn't. And then before I knew it, like I was like, "Oh, this TTS league is like someone will get in contact with me at least once a week and ask me to play this game that I love. Heck yeah, sign me up." So I started playing just using it as a way to get more games in. And then season 6 was the first season I was like, hold on, like I've played a lot of these players who I'm seeing in Top Cut and I've like throttled them low key. So let's try and do this. Let's see what I can do. So I tried to build like a pretty solid list or what I thought was really good and able to do a lot of things, which ended up being Midnight Suns at the time, which also happened to be because they were new and exciting and shiny. And I made Top Cut, which was fun. And then that was like getting to Top Cut. I think I beat Mark Giroux to beat him out of top whatever, like top 4 for my region. And that was huge. When I did that, it was like, oh, hold on. I might be able to like actually play this game with like the people who are the best at this game. And then placing at LVO, I placed second at LVO. Here's my little shiny trophy. Shout outs to all the folks who were there. That was also like a wake up call. Like it was so I've never been to Vegas before. Um,
Never?
no. So that whole weekend was like totally surreal. And I was like, what's going on? Like I'm in this totally new place and I'm playing people who are all really good at this game and I'm holding my own and like not just that but doing very well. So that was uh intense as close as the right word as I can get.
So a lot of questions after that diatribe. So
Sure.
what does your training look like? Is it just playing games and reflecting on it? Do you have like a group you dojo with? Do you have like a regular practice squad, or what are you doing to continue to improve in Crisis Protocol?
I have some buddies who I play with regularly, but I would at this point in time I wouldn't say I have a true dojo. I hit up your podcast buddy Pat the other day, and he and I have been we played like a game so far, but we've just become like Discord confidants, like because he also is a solid Avengers player. That's just an understatement. So we're kind of swapping tech around and trying to see what the best is. I convinced him to try out Hulk today at his locals.
Yeah, Thursday night's game night for Pat. So I'm curious what he comes back and says for that. And Pat's obviously a great resource.
Absolutely.
I see you active in the discords, and there's so many great players out there. And one thing I do want to encourage people is just if you see it, you should just reach out to people. You'd be shocked at how many people are just happy to, like you said before, right? Talk about a game that you really enjoy. A lot of people feel intimidated for it, but like I don't know. Worst case they do is just ignore you, tell you to f off, right? But
Exactly, yeah, and that's like I guess I've placing at LVO made me more confident in this because now, like, I played I think it was with Sploosh, and he called me a top player. I'm like, "Oh, shit, is that what I am now? I'm one of those guys." So now I'm like I feel much more comfortable, like, reaching out to the people who place in top 16 consistently in the TTS leagues and being like, "Yo, please run some sets with me. I want you to bring your scary stuff. I want to see if I can like, if I've teched appropriately for it."
yeah, and again, regardless of whether you place in the top at LVO or not, I would just encourage you to, again, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
worst thing the person's going to say is just no, and then Pat's like honestly one of the nicest people in the world. Pat's not going to do that to you. So, so what are your future goals in MCP?
Um, I don't know that I'm gonna do any more traveling this year because, like, I live in Los Angeles. Vegas is like a drive for me, but I don't know about flying to events yet. That might be something that I think about doing more close to like when those events are actually happening. But for the time being, I'm just trying to, like I said, I've been dojoing a bit with Pat. If you play Syndicate at a high level, please do hit me up because I need to run games against Syndicate and probably Web Warriors. But I'm trying to lock down my list for season 7, which is coming up in about a week and a half. And yeah, doing that again will be really fun. I guess like my goal for Crisis is like just to be the best player that I can be and to make a oh, actually no, I have one like kind of goofy goal. I really want to somehow get enough clout that I can convince AMG to change Hulk's reroll ability to a damage reduction ability because it makes me mad whenever I look at it.
Okay, well, good luck there. I don't know if clout's
Yeah,
going to
I
get you
know.
there, but
I
it's a good
know.
goal to have. Dream big, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I was planning on going to LVO for months, and then as we got closer to it, just kind of looked like more personally, right? And I'm not anyone can do whatever they want. It just for me, it just ended up like a good decision, and it is hard for me right now to even like fathom planning travel to like an event just because I don't know. There just feels like there's so many things in the air right now and so many variables going on. So, I
I
you know
completely
I
understand.
yeah I don't it is not a secret that I don't love TTS. It's just I would much rather play in person. That's one of the reasons I just don't really play TTS. But I'm playing again this season just because I'm kind of running out of options. Like I need to kind of play the game right. And yeah, just kind of running out of other things to do there. So, what do you have for advice to a fellow wargamer who's new and just kind of jumping into MCP right now?
100%. Like, listen to people sometimes, but if you have a favorite character or a favorite team, you can make anything work in this game. If your favorite character is Black Bolt, like, I'm sorry, but you can still do it. You can still make it happen. Um, like, everything in this game is balanced enough that, like, I think you can make any list competitively viable. Like, I was on Morlocks yesterday with Lexa White, and we made a spider people list with Deadpool, who was my character of choice. And I went into it kind of thinking about the jank tank, and then the list we ended up with is just like, oh man, I would totally play this. This is really good.
Yeah, Lex is phenomenal. If you haven't listened to Morlax,
Hmm.
you should definitely check her out. She's been doing it for a while now, so yeah. So, what is a piece of advice you have for a player that's been playing for a while but wants to make that jump into competitive play?
Um, like when I was talking about how I got more confident after like my tournament placement, that's just me. That's just because I'm like, a socially awkward person. You should hit up top players. Like you can get in touch with these guys. Like, I'm not gonna name names, but people who you see placing, you can look up all the tournament results on like Xavier protocols and across the Bifrost. But if you reach out to these folks, if they're playing similar lists to you, I know like I guess I will name a name. Ulysses in particular is like our resident Black Order expert on the various discords, or at least one of them. So if you're trying to play Black Order, which please don't. They're just annoying at this point. I don't know about Black Order. Like I'm not even really like truly convinced that they're actually that good. But if you want to learn how to play Black Order or want to play how to learn like Web Warriors or whatever, just reach out to someone who's done a lot of work with it and tell them your goals. Like, are you trying to make a super fun list? Are you trying to make a list that's like hyper competitively viable and doesn't matter whatever you're playing? It's just like the best stuff. Um, and I think they'll, for the most part, people are nice. They'll help you out. We have a great community for Crisis Protocol.
Yeah, the community is really incredible. I'm gonna, thanks for mentioning the Bifrost. You can go to acrossthebifrost.com/discord. Check out our new public facing Discord, which is a great way to get in touch with people. Almost all the content creators we have on the site are part of the Discord now, so definitely check that
I got to
out.
get on
So
that. My bad.
okay, it's all right. There we go. It worked. I got one more person under the Discord by mentioning that in the video. So, um, it's been incredible kind of hearing about your story a little bit here, Hyper. And I wish you all the luck in season 6. I haven't registered yet. I think I have like another 2 days. I need to get off my butt and go ahead and do that. But I do want to thank you for so much for coming on Size 2 Ferns. It's great just hearing a little bit about you. I know you recently published an article on Across the Bifrost talking your time at LVO. I saw a big green rage monster on the front, so I definitely think people should check that out. Where else can people find your work, Hyper?
So I have a Twitch channel at Twitch TV dot or slash hyperviper 997, all lowercase. That has links to like my YouTube and my very, very, very underused Twitter. And then on Discord, let's just double check this. You can find me on all the various Discords at hyperviper, all lowercase hyper, all uppercase viper, number 2682. If you just want to run some games, I'm usually pretty down. So yeah, those are my places.
Yeah,
Oh, and
and
if you if, sorry to interrupt, but if you're in the SoCal area, I play at Next Gen every Friday.
awesome. Well, again, thank you for coming on Size 2 Ferns. I'm playing Web Warriors. We should get a game sometime. I think it'd be a
I
lot of
would
fun.
love to, please.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. Please give the channel a like and subscribe. I hate even saying that. Until next time, everyone, cheers and happy gaming.